You see, my dear friends, there is something quite peculiar about the man who seeks the truth, the man who walks the path of awakening. He is not against love. He is not bitter nor wounded by the world. But something within him has changed. He no longer looks at relationships the way the world does. To most people, love is a kind of bargain, a trade of emotions, comfort, and companionship. But to the spiritual man, love is not a transaction. It is a state of being. And when love becomes a state of being rather than a need, he finds that he can love deeply, without possession, without expectation. That is why so often he remains alone. Not lonely, but alone. There is a great difference between the two. The silence between two souls. You see, when you are alone, truly alone, not merely isolated, you begin to hear a subtle music playing beneath all existence. It is the hum of the universe, the breath of life itself. The spiritual man becomes sensitive to that music. He sees beauty in a leaf trembling in the wind, in the play of sunlight across a wall, in the laughter of a child. And suddenly he realizes he does not need another person to complete him. He is not half of a whole. He is the whole itself. But here is the paradox. Only when you no longer need love are you truly capable of loving. The ordinary man clings to another, saying, "Stay with me, don't leave me, make me happy." But the awakened man says, "I love you, and therefore I set you free." That kind of love does not fit neatly into the structure of society. It does not demand marriage, control, or permanence. It flows like a river, natural, effortless, and infinite. The freedom from desire. Now, this does not mean the spiritual man rejects desire. No, he understands desire too well. He has watched desire rise and fall like the tide. He has seen how every pleasure eventually turns into pain, and every attachment becomes a source of fear. And so he stops chasing. He stops trying to own love. To most people, love is about security. Will you be there tomorrow? Will you love me even when I'm old? Will you promise never to leave? But to the awakened soul, love is about freedom. It is about dancing together for as long as the music lasts, and when the song ends, bowing gracefully and walking away without bitterness. That kind of freedom terrifies the world, because the world is built upon control, promises, and possession. The spiritual man cannot promise permanence, not because he is irresponsible, but because he understands the impermanence of everything. Even the stars burn out. Even the sun must die. The inner marriage. So he turns inward. He discovers a different kind of relationship, not with another person, but with existence itself. He begins to feel united with the whole universe. He sees that the wind is his lover, the sky his companion, the silence his friend. There is an old Zen saying, "When I was young, I thought love was finding the right person. Now I see love is becoming the right space." And that is precisely what happens. The spiritual man no longer seeks a partner to fill his emptiness. He transforms emptiness into fullness. He becomes so full of life, so full of awareness, that another person is no longer a necessity. They are a delight, yes, but not a need. You see, most relationships are built upon mutual dependency. I need you to make me feel loved. I need you to give my life meaning. But the awakened man has discovered meaning within himself. He has married his own soul. He has found the divine feminine and the divine masculine within his own being, the yin and the yang, the Shiva and the Shakti, and brought them into harmony. This is the inner marriage, and once it happens, outer marriage becomes secondary.
Moon, the dance of half-awakened love. Sometimes he meets someone, a woman who seems to understand, who looks at him with depth, who feels the same silence he lives in. For a while, their souls dance together. But soon, one begins to pull the other back into the world of attachment. One begins to say, "Why don't you call me? Why don't you need me?" And he smiles gently, for he knows what that means. He knows the world cannot yet understand love without control. So he steps back. He lets go, not because he doesn't care, but because he cares too much to destroy love with possession. That is the tragedy and beauty of the spiritual man's life. He is capable of infinite love, but rarely finds someone who can love infinitely. The solitude of the mystic. The mystic's solitude is not a punishment. It is his sanctuary. It is where he speaks with the divine, not in words, but in silence. He watches the waves and feels God moving through them. He listens to the rain and hears eternity whispering secrets. In that silence, he feels connected to all beings, to the beggar and the king, to the bird and the mountain. So you see, he is never truly alone. He simply lives in a different kind of intimacy, not with one person, but with life itself. When you understand this, you begin to see why many saints, mystics, and philosophers have remained single, not because they hate relationships, but because they have fallen in love with existence. Their lover is the infinite, love beyond the human form. You see, in ordinary love, you love a person for their qualities, their beauty, their kindness, their voice. But all these things change. So what happens when they change? Your love fades. The spiritual man's love does not depend on qualities. It flows toward the essence, the divine spark behind every face. He loves not this person or that person, but the life that looks out through their eyes. That is why his love is vast, and his relationships are rare. Few can handle being loved without ownership. Few can understand being free and yet profoundly connected. The spiritual man's love is not a cage, it's a sky. And most people are afraid of the sky. They prefer the safety of walls, even if it means losing the horizon. Heart, wait. Now, do not mistake this solitude for arrogance. The spiritual man does not think he is above others. He simply sees that chasing fulfillment through others is like chasing your own shadow. The more you run after it, the farther it goes. But the moment you turn around, you realize the shadow was never separated from you. Likewise, love was never out there. It was always within you. When you finally understand this, you stop begging the world to complete you. You stop saying, "If only I had someone, I'd be happy." You see that happiness and love are not prizes you earn. They are the nature of your being. Sunshine, the joy of being alone. There comes a moment, a quiet afternoon perhaps, when you are sitting alone. No music, no phone, no company. And suddenly you feel a strange joy bubbling up for no reason at all. That joy is the essence of spiritual aloneness. It is the soul recognizing itself. It says, "Ah, here I am." At that moment, you no longer feel lonely. You feel alive. And you understand that love is not something you do. It is what you are. When you realize that, even if someone comes into your life, you will love them without fear. And if they leave, you will bless them on their way. That is the freedom of the spiritual man. The world will misunderstand him. Of course, society will not understand. They will call him cold, detached, unromantic. They will say he is afraid of commitment. But they do not see that he is deeply committed, not to a person, but to truth, to love itself, to the unfolding of consciousness. He knows that every form passes, every face fades, but love remains. So he does not cling to forms. He dances with them, celebrates them, and then lets them go. That is not detachment. That is the highest form of intimacy. Because only when you are not afraid to lose something can you truly love it. Aha, the return to the heart. So, why does the spiritual man remain single? Because his love is too large to be confined. Because his heart belongs to the cosmos. Because he has seen that to love all is not to reject one, but to see the one in all. He may fall in love, yes. He may even marry, laugh, and live among people. But deep inside, he remains a free being,